Hello, it is your old pal here, the Obscurist tourist, and today I come to you from Maine, one of the most obscure states in all of the United States. And I am here just passing through, really. I'm on my way to Montreal, and I thought I would sneak on down to the United States and check out a state that I have never stepped foot in. If not now, when? Since I was here, I thought I would explore some places that inspired and were featured in some of Stephen King's books as well as his movies. And one of those things is this truck stop right behind me, Dysart's truck stop. This directly inspired his early short story, Trucks, which became, and this is a bit of a divulgence, one of my favorite horror movies of all time, Maximum Overdrive. Stephen King actually directed that movie, and it was Emilio Estevez's first starring role. Stephen King says he absolutely hates that movie, and I can't disagree with him more because I love it. It is so campy, and you can see just all of the trucks here. It is early morning here, so there's not a lot of big rigs and things fueling up at Dysart's, but you can imagine that this was an actual hub of activity and really got that horror mind thinking, and that is how he got Trucks. For now, we're going to check out inside, see if we can get inside. It is 24 hours, and then we are going to head to Bangor, Maine, just down the road, to check out Stephen King's house and a few other treats. So without further ado, let's head on into Dysart's and check out Stephen King's Maine.
My name is Stephen King. I've written several motion pictures, but I want to tell you about a movie called Maximum Overdrive.
What is going on? I don't know!
You want a war? You got one.
So come and spend some time with me and my friends at the Dixie Boy.
Maximum Overdrive was released in 1986 and marked Stephen King's directorial debut. The movie was hated by most when it came out, including Stephen King himself, but the idea for it all came to being right here at Dysart's truck stop, just outside of Bangor, Maine, and you can really see that the movie accurately captured the atmosphere of this place, of what was in King's head, and I feel like I'm actually inside his head. It's kind of strange. Let's head on inside and see what the diner has in store for us. How cool is this place? I absolutely love the Dysart's logo here with the truck placed inside the D. I'm a real sucker for logos and marketing, so this place has already won me over. Trucker's table, yes please. So cool that it is really playing up the truck's maximum overdrive aspect, though perhaps it's happenstance, being that it's just playing up the fact that this place is just a truck stop. All these truck grills placed around the inside near the tables in the diner here really remind me, and you, of where you are. The next stop on our Stephen King movie tour is this place right here, the Mount Hope Cemetery, which was actually used in a few scenes from Pet Sematary. Released in 1983, the cemetery scene features Gage Creed's funeral and is also the setting for Stephen King's cameo.
And now, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you.
It is also rumored that King was inspired by tombstones in this very cemetery that he used for character names for Georgie in It and Carrie in, well, you guessed it, Carrie. And our third stop of the day is right behind me. This is the Thomas Hill standpipe. And I think you know what book and what movie this inspired inside Stephen King. He would look out on this because he lived right across the street from this, I believe. I'm not sure which house it was, but he would stare out this, and this is where you get a scary clown, I suppose. The Bangor Waterworks is just outside of town, and that is where all the tunnel scenes were filmed. It is now, I believe, a housing project of sorts, so it is inaccessible, unfortunately, because I would love to see those tunnels. But yeah, the Bangor Thomas Hill standpipe, one of the monstrous cast iron pipes that leads from the standpipe. Ultimately, I believe, I'm going to guess that this goes right to the Bangor Waterworks, or at least did, and helped to fuel Stephen King's imagination for what lived down there. Super interesting. I was going right around the corner. There's a very scary couple of dogs over there protecting the property, but I'm like, that's pretty creepy. And it turns out this is the house that gives Stephen King guided tours, bus tours. Good thing there's a fence. You can see a little Grim Reaper right over here. Very creepy. These dogs are kind of terrifying. Again, you can see that is the bus that gives the Stephen King tours. Okay, guys, I'm leaving now. Jeez.
So this right here is the pièce de résistance of my tour here in Maine. This is the former full-time residence of Stephen King himself, and it's about the most Stephen King thing you'll ever see. Very befitting of the King of Horror. King initially moved into this Victorian-style mansion back in 1980 and added some very nice personal touches throughout the years, including this customized wrought iron fence that features bats, spiders, and a web on its front gates. There are even the numbers 4 and 7 denoting the street number 47 inside the two spiders on the gates.
You can really see the detail in that spider.
If you walk to the right of the main gates, you'll find a walk-through gate that features another spider, but inside this spider's thorax is the letter K, which obviously stands for King. Such an interesting little detail. Something to note here is that this house sits on what seems to be a completely normal, everyday, middle-class suburban street a few minutes from downtown Bangor. It's quite early in the day and in low tourist season, so there are some tourists here taking in the significance of this place, but not nearly as many tourists as I've been told will come here in the spring and summer months. And this is pretty neat. One of the little fabrications on the top of this fence here is a 3-headed dragon. So that statue right there on the lawn, that ornate statue built out of a tree trunk, is a bookshelf that features birds and other animals. It was an old ash tree that Stephen King loved. I'm not completely sure of the story behind it, but I heard that when the tree died, King's wife, Tabitha, commissioned a woodworker to hand carve this into what it is today to pay homage to the tree so that the family would never forget it. Pretty romantic, I'd say. Again, such an absolutely beautiful property, and the house itself would not be out of place in any way in any of Stephen King's books. For you architecture buffs out there, this home was built in 1854 for William Arnold, who operated prosperous livery stables in town at the time. And right around the corner from Stephen King's old house is this. This old waffle-like sewer grate in the middle of this side street is actually the inspiration behind the opening scene for King's It.
Georgie. Aren't you going to say hello? You float dog!
And this is the Paul Bunyan statue, nondescript. See them all over America. Not as many as you used to be able to see, but this particular one is special because right here in Bangor, and the one that reanimated in the movie It. Yes, one of always remember this scene, always terrified me. I don't know what it is, inanimate objects just coming to life really, really freak me out. Just to give you some scale of how monstrous this Paul Bunyan statue actually is. Look at this. I'm not even as tall as the base of this statue, so we're probably looking at about 40 feet, probably. I don't know. I don't know if that is the normal height of Paul Bunyan statues in America. And this is another classic. You know, I have a lot of favorite Stephen King movies when I really think about it. And this one is, you might recognize it. This is the Bartlett Yarn Factory or Bartlett Yarn Mills here in Harmony, Maine. And this featured prominently as the exterior in
Graveyard Shift. Good benefits. Early retirement.
Really terrified me. Especially, it'll terrify you if you hate rats, because there's a rat king living right in the basement of this thing.
Stephen King invites you to venture deep inside the caverns.
And you can see right along the river's edge here in Harmony, kind of a spooky town. Very, very Stephen King.
The most interesting part of this property is that it is still a fully functioning wool mill. Established back in 1821, that means this mill has been processing wool for, let's do some quick math here, 203 years. That is absolutely wild. I bet there aren't too many companies that have been in operation in the US for 200 years. You gotta applaud them. Oh wow, I love this cute little sign. And if we peek inside those doors, you can actually see a bunch of wool just sitting there on the floor waiting for processing. Very, very fascinating.
Interesting, I saw this truck parked here. Looks abandoned, but I love the license plate. Clearly someone who worked here at the wool factory.
Now, I'm not sure if they have an actual graveyard shift here at the mill, but can you imagine seeing the movie and then having to work alone in this building at night? I couldn't even fathom it. I'd be so jumpy. Maybe I'd even quit. Who knows? That would not be a fun shift. Just being here, there's almost a creepy sense of anxiety. I don't know what it is, because this is actually a very, very beautiful location, being situated here in cute Harmony, Maine, and sitting right beside Higgins Brook. Almost the entirety of Maine reminds me of being a character in a Stephen King book or movie, to be honest. Just driving around, everything looks vaguely familiar, even though I've never been here, and it goes to show just how perfectly King encapsulated the things around him and the stuff that influenced him while growing up.
I really hope you enjoyed my visit to Maine, Stephen King's Maine. Some really, really eye-opening things here. Very, very cool. After driving through this state, I've been here for 2 days, I can really understand where a lot of his stories come from, even if they aren't directly related to his books, short stories, or movies. I'll drive by something and I'm like, that is very Stephen King. It's very interesting. For now, it is the Obscurist Tour saying so long, take care of yourselves, stay beautiful, and until our next adventure, see you later. Oh, and if you like these videos, these types of videos, I have a ton coming. So please follow me here on my YouTube channel. See you later.